It's time to break the atoms. We will take a look at how it's possible to create unique nuclei templates. Don't miss out, since I will show you 3 easy ways how you can build your own. Let's increase your chance of raking that bounty cash. Nuclei templates are made for testing certain vulnerabilities. Either it's known with configurations, CVEs, default credentials, general fuzzing techniques, or even more. It's a pretty powerful way to describe on how you can detect the issues, and it's also a very powerful technique to test at a mass scale. This tool comes with a lot of templates already pre-made, but using them out of the box will most likely result in duplicates. Using your own templates will increase the chance of finding vulnerabilities by a lot. What if I told you that you don't need to put a lot of effort to making your own? There is no need to read a lot of documentation when you are just starting out. It's pretty simple once you understand the basics. If you are new to this tool, I recommend watching my previous video, as it has a lot of useful tips for using it. And now, for further ado, let's deep dive into the main stuff. To make building your templates easier, it's just mandatory to understand the base structure. When you install Nuclei, its templates by default will be in your home directory, Nuclei-templates. If you list them out, you will see multiple categories and multiple directories. Those directories separate templates by use case and the way how you can run them. For instance, headless directory meant for templates for headless mode, DNS for checking DNS records mostly. File will have various checks for specified files, because you can also pass not URLs but files to the tool. HTTP for regular HTTP requests. We will spend our focus here this time, since it's the most common way of using Nuclei. JavaScript, in case you want to run some JavaScript functions on client side. Network, if you have, for instance, IPs with different ports, you can do some network-based scanning. SSL for SSL checks. Others like code, config, helpers, and workflows are basically a bit advanced stuff. Templates are written in YAML. It's pretty simple way to describe data, mostly using key-value pairs. If you check DNS and Azure T-Cover detection template, cat it out, we will see the 3 main parts. The first part meant for ID, like here. It's basically the unique identifier of template. It's meant in the case you only want to use that template only. So if you use Nuclei and pass ID flag, we should copy this ID right here. Second part is info part. It will have some metadata. Some of those values are mandatory. For example, name of the template, author who made the template, the severity, which is usually the result of CVSS score, the description, but other parts are optional, like reference, classification, and metadata. The last part usually will be tags. The tags are also mandatory, since this one could be used when you want to run multiple templates of certain group. For this example, the DNS tag could be used to run DNS templates in this directory, like all of those right here. If you cat out other template within the same directory, you will see under tags, it will also have DNS. It doesn't mean that in the same directory it will be always have tags like this, but it's pretty good idea to sometimes separate by technology. So to use templates by tags, you can also use Nuclei tags and like specify which tags you want, like DNS. Sometimes you can provide multiple tags like DNS and tag. So it really depends on the situation. The third part is most important, and this one basically tells tool on how you want to use templates. Here DNS will tell Nuclei what you want to send DNS request, and the following part tells how you want to send DNS request. On different directory like file, if I go back and go to file, let's list those files. It will have more subdirectories. Let's recursively list them using lsr and cat out Python one. So cat Python scanner. And as you notice, this time it will also have three parts like ID, info, but the third part will be file in this case. And it will do the stuff for past file, like various checks. But for most people, use Nuclei mainly for sending HTTP requests. So let's explore HTTP based templates. Let's go back the certain directory and head into the HTTP. Due to organization reasons, we will see many directories again. There are multiple main ways to write HTTP based templates. Let me show some examples side by side. So first one is basically located right here. It's basically PHP myadmin misconfiguration. So the ID and info part we already know, but this time you can see there is HTTP. And sending HTTP requests, there are multiple ways to do it, either by using method get and specifying the paths you want to fetch, and after like getting those paths, what you want to do is detect them. So there will be this kind of part. This one is like optional thing, but usually after checking those endpoints, what you also want to do is specify the matchers. So those usually two main parts of HTTP. But other way how you can also do get HTTP request is also using HTTP, but this time using raw, like on Burp Suite, using raw request. This example there, it's using some extra stuff just for brute forcing. It's a bit advanced, but as you can see, it's optional. But this part is also like at the end usually, just for matching and detection. So yeah, those are like, you can use raw and you can use like simplified way like this. There is also possibility to do it for post or put requests. So for instance, using post request will look like this. You'll use simplified way of method post and specify which part you want to access, and you could also use HTTP raw as well for this part. As we just learned the core structure of templates, now it's time for first method on how you can build your own. I recommend starting out by just reading already pre-made ones and trying to do something similar. What I like to do is split my terminal in two, and on the left side I will have already made Nuclei templates, and on the right side the template what I will be building. So firstly, I will create the new directory on home called cost templates, where I put my custom templates. Now let's try to find template that uses XSS, for example, XSS attack, by using grep recursively and searching for alert function. So use grep r and try to search for alert. Okay, I need to put it in the single quotes, and I need to do some filtering using grep v and a flags. So I want to exclude fuzzing and maybe those with CVE. So okay, I need to some highlights, so I do grep alert. Maybe let's select this template as an example. So to open it, just use nano and try to copy everything here up to this point. And as you can see here at the end, I will need to copy those lines because on nano you have to scroll a little bit here like this just to have everything. So make sure you copy everything right. So here just go to the cost templates directory and firstly let's create a new template. You want this to have YAML extension and try to copy it like this. And as you can see, description part, just put it out. I will leave it as like this, maybe as the reference. Okay, I will copy this one, verb actions like this. Okay, path, I need to copy this one, this because it's important. Document alert d, okay, let's domain HTML like this. Okay, so it should be the same here, so like this. So right now it's the similar template. I will use Ctrl S to save it, but what I want to do is just modify the same template and basically it will be different one. So instead of alert, I want to use prompt function, and here as a matcher I want also use prompt as well. So it will be a little bit different, and as the author I will put myself. Of course I want to give credits for this author, but I will also put like this. So sometimes it's really good idea just use some templates as an example, just use them as the base, but just modify just a little bit and you can really find some issues this way. Since for example there could be some web application firewalls who are just filtering just alert, but they are not filtering prompt functions or any other JavaScript function. So you can really play around just a little bit, modifying existing templates and just like creating. Another good example is probably trying to find LFI for function. So LFI usually looks for etc psvd files, but you can, for example, okay, this one, let's try to read this one, but it's not looking for Windows files, it's only looking for Linux. You can use this same template, but instead of looking for etc psvd files, you should look for Windows ini file, and as a matcher you should modify this line just for look for what's inside that Windows file. So there is like couple ideas what you can do. Sometimes you can play around like changing methods. Instead of get, you can try to change to the post. And yeah, it's basically you don't need to have a lot of good knowledge about templating engine, but in case you need something, just try to read documentation. But just to start out, this is the first thing what you should do. After playing around with existing templates and reading documentation, you will be down in the rabbit hole of Nuclei templating. So the second thing to level up your game is checking security feeds, and oh boy, it's pretty darn good way to get some inspiration for building your own template from scratch. My two favorite places to go to get some ideas are the X and the HackerOne activity. So in X you should use those search fields, bug bounty tips hashtag and vulnerability type. Sometimes you can search for CVEs, but it's really good idea just to get some payloads or vulnerable endpoints. Just look ideas here, but sometimes it's even good filter out like payloads like this, and just try to scroll down a little bit, maybe this one. Let me check for others. Those are pretty simple. I don't like the pictures. People should stop using those. What else? What else? Yeah, so you can, for example, check for this payload, try to find on the existing Nuclei templates something similar, and try copy that template again like as previously, but just replace payloads like this. Yeah, for example, those are pretty useful. So sometimes the people don't find vulnerabilities just because of presence of web application firewalls. So it's really a good idea to just do some research here. Or activity field. So for example, you can use SQL injection and try to find some reports, disclosed reports, and get some payloads from here. For instance, Department of Defense. As you can see, it's like the full request here, but payload is right here. So I will try to copy this one, and right now I will create new like SQL injection YAML, for instance, like this. I don't want to recreate the same post method. I just want to use payload. So right now, just to try to search for SQL injection, I will use this one. Yeah, as you can see, some CVEs already are starting to show the top. So maybe try this one. What you should do is try to do something similar again. Copy, paste, make sure you're copying everything, like right here. As you can see, remediation and description are not copied fully, but for those I don't think we need that much. You can just put like dot. What's actually important is here, the payloads, right here. So the SQL injection is happening right here. So instead of that, you could, as an idea, you could use those and just try that template. But of course, you have to read it thoroughly. I'm just using this as an example. Maybe it's not a very good example, but you just think outside. You have to think outside the box just to find a way. Lastly, the final method is doing security research. There is a simple way of doing it and there is a hard way. The easy way is trying to search recent CVEs and try to find the exploit code before everybody else and create the Nuclei template around it. So usual place to go to search for exploits is usually GitHub. So what I like to do is write down CVE and the current year of the CVE and sort by recently updated, and here usually you can find a lot of exploits. Let's sort by Python language and check for recently updated ones. For example, this one. Copy the CVE number and go to the project discovery Nuclei templates, and in the search, maybe exclude those, just search for that CVE. If it's already included in the Nuclei templates, You won't have a lot of chance finding it first. So basically it's like a rat race at this point. But if you want to have 99% of chance not getting duplicate, you should be professional, do it professionally. The security research. It's really good idea to read the code, understand where and how vulnerabilities occur, and try to find 0 days. So to find 0 days, you should pick like open source project on either on GitHub, Docker Hub, or any other place, and try to reverse engineer it, read the code, and try to find vulnerabilities. And then for those vulnerabilities, you should create the Nuclei template. Of course, it's like the hardest part, but eventually you want to become like at the level of this in your career. If you stayed up to this point, congratulations, because you have enough knowledge to get the ball rolling of your own template construction work. If you enjoy content like this, feel free to leave some feedback, and if you have any questions, contact me on Discord. It was my pleasure sharing bits of knowledge, and I wish enjoy your bug bounty journey.